This is something that I think from Van Nguyen that is, how to say, very, very timely, right? Very timely, because I'm seeing a lot of people posting about this, even in social media. They start talking about, okay, there might be a recession coming, and from someone who has experienced two financial crises. Oh my God, I'm so old. Just by saying that, I feel so old. Okay, by the way, did you guys know that financial crisis, global recession is actually a cycle? You can expect it every 8 to 10 years. That's why I feel so old, because me experiencing it 2 times mean that's about eight, at least 8 to 10 years. So the first time I experienced this, I was a very new employee, and when you are young and get retrenched, you don't think of it as a problem, because oh, I can just find a new job and it will be fine, right? But the second time that I experienced it, of course, it's after 8 years, 9 years, and then I started to think like, oh wow, like then I started to research more about it, and then that's when I learned that it's a cycle. If you want to do your own research about financial crisis, go and look up Ray Dalio. So let me put that in the chat. Ray Dalio, and he has a book, but he has written a lot about that cycle. There are small cycles, and then there's a big cycle, and it's very predictable. And if you want to prepare for that, then you can. So meaning, if you want to save money, and then when there's a crisis, okay, this is what I'm gonna answer. Okay, sorry, I digress. I'm so excited. Yeah, so Ray Dalio, do a research on that. You will understand more how the machine works. Anyway, as an entrepreneur, what do I think about the upcoming economic crisis? So having experienced it 2 times, but both times as an employee. So one is like a very new employee, then the second one is a more mature employee. What I learned is that one, yes, this is actually predictable, and if I knew it much earlier, I could have prepared for it. Then second, right, as a business owner, I am one, cautious. So cautious meaning I'll be very, very careful. I will assess if my business will be affected if there will be an economic crisis. So there are business who will be, like super affected by an economic crisis or any crisis. Let's just take the recent pandemic. So when COVID-19 hit, um, immediately, like, countries close down their borders, no one can travel. So what are the businesses that were affected? So one is, the airlines business, definitely affected. Then the tourism business, of course, also affected. And so those are, you can immediately identify what types of businesses will be affected if there's a crisis. And then there are group of businesses wherein they thrive when it comes to crisis. So in COVID-19, the pharmacies, like the big pharmaceutical companies, they definitely benefited because they had to, produce a lot of, vaccines, and so their stock prices went up, and so their business was booming during that 2 years, right? 2, or maybe now about 3 years. So you need to be cautious and understand, if you have a business already, then you need to understand, will my business be affected by this, right? And if you haven't started a business, then this is for you, because the second thing you have to understand is that if there is a crisis, there's always opportunities. Let me repeat that. When there is a crisis, there is an opportunity, or there are opportunities. There's so many opportunities. And so let me give a very good example. Let's go back to COVID-19. So COVID-19, what was, kind of like the mask, right? So many masks, surgical masks, that people use, and and it's and it's consumable. So meaning they use for a few times and then they throw away. Then they use a few times, then they throw away. And a lot of people that I know who are entrepreneurs, they were doing something else and then they pivoted, they changed, they started a business wherein they were selling face mask, and they did very, very well. So that's what I mean by when there's a crisis, there's always an opportunity. So the one that is quick to take action will actually benefit. Yeah. So those are the two things. So when there's a crisis, I'm actually cautious, and the other one is excited because there are opportunities when there's a crisis. Right? I hope I answered your question, Van. Do you believe there is some sort of pattern or formula to becoming a successful entrepreneur? So, my answer to this is yes. There is some sort, I like how you put it, some sort of pattern, because that's exactly how I would say it. There is some sort of pattern or formula, but then now the question that is that formula fits you? Because I think I mentioned this in the past as well, is that different businesses would have kind of like a different way of doing things. Just like my example, like, a traditional business and then the online business. And then each person is also different. So now it's our job to find out what is kind of like these patterns that would fit us. So if you are someone who is more big picture, like you can see bigger ideas and bigger concepts, this might be easier to spot. But for big picture people like me, what we struggled with is going into the strategies, the tactics. It takes a little bit more effort and like energy to do that. But understanding the concepts, yes, definitely. So when it comes to patterns and formulas, it's much, much easier. If you are very detailed, like you like all the nitty-gritty details, then it will take you more effort to zoom out and look at those patterns. Yeah, but it's entirely possible. But you need to understand that, I'm someone who is very detailed, so I need to zoom out and look at the patterns. So in Money and You, there is also a business success formula that Money and You teaches. The only thing is that it's really big picture, and the way to execute that will be totally different from someone like me or someone like you, Michelle. So every person will have a different way of executing it, and the best way is to find your own way on how to do it. So take a very big picture concept and then apply it in your own way. That is kind of like how I would do it, right? So thank you very much for your question, Michelle.
Oh, hey there. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to click the bell button so you get updated of the new videos. See you in the next one.